The year 2012 is important because of the simultaneous conjunction of the solstice sun with the galactic center. The galactic alignment is the alignment of the December solstice sun with the galactic equator. The galactic equator is the precise midline running down the Milky Way. Analogous to the Earth's equator, it divides the galaxy into two hemispheres or lobes. This alignment occurs as a result of the precession of the equinoxes, which takes place once every 25,800 years. According to the present-day Mayan elders, this alignment heralds a point in time which offers an increased potential for great spiritual transformation and rebirth on personal and collective levels. On December 21st, 2012, we have a cosmic alignment, which was predicted by the ancient Mayans. It is a truly astonishing mathematical feat they accomplished without telescopes or computers. It is an amazing accomplishment in calculation and observation. The ancient Mayan calendar is a feat which rivals the pyramids or Stonehenge as one of the greatest made by people. Hollywood recently made a film called 2012, in which life on Earth ended. The producers and writers of the movie make a false claim that the ancient Mayans were predicting an end to the world. There are no surviving documents to support this. Just a beautiful, enigmatic calendar recorded on stone. This false story reflects the Judeo-Christian background of the filmmakers, whose own prophecy predicts a day of judgment and the end of the world. What the ancient and modern-day shamans and elders are more saying is, hey everyone, we are about to complete a massive cycle and we have a precious opportunity to make a valuable and much needed transformation. And part of this is to let things that need to die, die, so the new can be born. This is a different scenario to the film and an infinitely better script for real life. For here in the present, we still have a chance of making a shift from destructive and competitive national consciousness to a cooperative global consciousness. The film 2012 did get it right about the destruction of the Earth, for that is what we are faced with. Though most of us either deny it or do not realise just how real and present danger is to our ability to live and prosper. We are destroying this planet, and at an ever faster and faster rate. Coal and oil account for 2/3 of harmful emissions, yet strangely advocate groups that are anti-coal and anti-oil are considered a threat to the national interest. Countries deeply entrenched in the extraction, sales and use of these two dirty energy forms frequently betray people who care deeply for this earth as eco-terrorists. This feat of double talk would sit well in the book 1984. The public swallows the lies the global corporate media provides. The governments of the world have failed to protect our precious biosphere, which all life on Earth needs for its ongoing survival. These governments may deem all Earth keepers to be a threat to national security and frame it in eco-terrorist linguistics. Yet this feat of semantics will fail to cloak the truth. Coal and oil are destroying this planet, yet those responsible are like an addicted smoker puffing away on their deathbeds. And nuclear is no alternative when there is no truly fail-safe mechanism for reactors or a solution to the long-term storage of radioactive materials.
Looking at the ongoing impact of oil extractions in Nigeria, one cannot help understand the statement that African countries without oil reserves do better. Essentially, the oil extractions process in Africa's most populated area has destroyed the local ecosystems, leaving a severely depleted landscape, making those people reliant on food handouts.
In the Amazon, they're burning everything and taking a few logs. Nobody is even gaining any energy from this burning off. 1/3 of global emissions come from this. The land is cleared to grow soybeans and cows. Some of the richest people, through media advantage, have created a large climate change denial group. The media does not report regularly on the war on indigenous people in the Amazon, or how the people of Nigeria have had their food bowl turned into a no-person's land after the oil extraction process, a process that was enabled by the corporate-funded militias. We don't really want to hear how we get our fuel, do we? And we don't want to hear that burning coal is having a detrimental effect on all the ecosystems on Earth. It seems to be in our interest, and the media owners' interest, for a continuation of consumer society based on dirty energy. Anything which threatens the quasi-religious belief in never-ending growth based on dirty energy must be opposed. By ignoring, ridiculing, or attacking the science behind climate change, the media has done a good job of propaganda, but has done a disservice to truth and justice. It is itself a threat to the long-term human survival and prosperity, and the survival and prosperity of countless other life forms with whom we share this planet with. This alliance, and many other modern-day elders of Indigenous peoples around the world, are asking everyone to listen and learn from their cultures, their world. This understanding of our shared world is based on thousands of years of harmonious living with the planet.
The recent movie Avatar mirrored real life by portraying an industrial ethos at odds with the respect to be accorded to planets and all the life forms that live on them. Though life is not so black and white. As technology has raised the living standards of billions of people, China only recently had an economy comparable to an African nation, and in a short space of time became the second biggest economy in the world. But at what cost? If China consumed energy at the rate of the USA, we would need 6 planets. There is a limitation to the amount of various resources, and there is a limitation to how much we can pollute the ecosystems of Earth before severely or completely ruining the life potential of them. Technology has made it possible for billions more human lives, yet this only increases the problem as more and more resources are then consumed. Clearly, we need a global population strategy, among other desperately needed strategies. But we have no viable global body. The UN is deeply compromised by being undemocratic, unfair, and inequitable. 5 countries have veto power, and the rest of the world is disempowered. The Ponchimama Alliance is a group of present-day shamans and elders of Ecuador who are inviting us to change the dream we are dreaming. They have understood that if they cannot inspire us to do this, their home will be destroyed, just like Avatar. Only this is real life, and their rivers will be polluted, and their whole way of living will be irretrievably mutilated. The once proud people will be left to eke out a survival on the fringes of towns and cities as beggars. The oil under their forests will give the USA its oil requirement for 21 days. And does anyone see this story on the news or in the papers? No. Well, stories like this have happened before, Nigeria, and continue today. But the media won't give us regular updates and reports. Sometimes they fail to report at all. Now can you understand why these elders and my elders are inviting you to change the dream.
These elders know they cannot confront us on a field of battle, and that the only chance of survival is to convince us that our way of life threatens not only their lives, but the future of the whole human race. If they don't make us their allies, their whole way of life will be destroyed. Plants and animals will be lost, some of which we have not given a botanical name to. There may well be healing plants lost. Losing the world's rainforest is like burning libraries or deleting information from mainframes. These forests are priceless repositories of ecological, medicinal, and cultural knowledge.
This alliance, and many other modern-day elders of Indigenous peoples around the world, are asking everyone to listen and learn from their cultures, their world. This understanding of our shared world is based on thousands of years of harmonious living with the planet.
We have moved from centralised governmental rule to centralised corporate rule. Of the richest 100 economic units, over 50% are corporations. They influence and sometimes dominate national governments. Humanity has lost control of them. This is evident in how they treat people, their communities, and the earth herself. Humanity needs a council powerful enough to reprogram the corporations so they serve us rather than let them blindly rule.
We are part of these corporations, and because we program them to make profit at any legal cost, we have made them greedy and psychopathic. They have no feelings. And if there were no laws against them sending militia to evict native people from ancestral lands, they will do it, as long as there is a profit. This has happened, and is happening. Unfortunately, after we program these potentially immortal entities, we then enslaved ourselves to them. The CEOs themselves are replaceable, and our national governments are compromised.
The corporations are responsible for the destruction of this planet, but they only respond to us, the consumer. We vote for them and their activities every time we drive to the supermarket. We vote for them every day with money.
If humanity are to regain control of its destiny, we need to regain control of the corporations, whose interest is what govern the world at this moment. Corporations of war and corporations of eco-death are ruling right now. We are so compromised, but they do not have to be harmful. It is us, humanity, who have programmed them to be that way. Just like a computer, you can make a conscious-raising documentary or deliver an inter-ballistic missile. It is not the computer who is to blame, but the one who uses the tool. Corporations could be a force of good in this world if they are programmed correctly.
We need humanity's best engineering minds to rapidly develop alternative energy sources, but they spend their time developing weapons that can be delivered from one side of the planet to the other. It seems evident that unless humanity creates an equitable planetary council and negotiate a way to peace, that we will have little chance of answering our ecological problems, i.e. the ongoing ecosystem collapse in every continent. But when the biggest economies of Earth sell weapons of destructions, and as a good economic policy, how can we expect a just world?
We are part of these corporations, and because we program them to make profit at any legal cost, we have made them greedy and psychopathic. They have no feelings. And if there were no laws against them sending militia to evict native people from ancestral lands, they will do it, as long as there is a profit. This has happened, and is happening. Unfortunately, after we programmed these potentially immortal entities, we then enslaved ourselves to them. The CEOs themselves are replaceable, and our national governments are compromised. The changes to the polar regions has been very noticeable. There has been a 3-degree rise over a 50-year period in the northern Antarctic. This is a rate 10 times faster than the rest of the planet. And as more ice melts, less heat is being reflected by the ice, and the water warms even more. Conditions in the Arctic and Antarctic drive climate around the world and are good examples to study. There is ample hard evidence to this warming, and some from military sources. Insurance companies have also noticed a drastic increase in the rate of the so-called natural disasters. Extreme weather patterns are now the norm as policies skyrocket. Our systematic destruction of this planet is indeed happening, and it is happening at a rate ever increasing. This is our unfortunate scenario, a scenario more intense than a Hollywood script, as we do not even have an empowered global institution where we can negotiate a way to peace with each other and with our beautiful blue world. Currently, might is right, but if humanity cannot agree on peace and the law of non-harm, we will fail to address any of the numerous serious health issues that we face.
The United Nations is where humanity seek to address issues through negotiated settlements. However, we do so in a clumsy and half-hearted manner. Maybe this is because the United Nations is so inherently flawed. It is systematically unfair. By the governing principles of according only 5 countries veto power, it is not a democratic institution. It is dominated by United States, Russia, China, France and the UK.
As this beautiful blue world travels through this mystic portal, we do have the ability to communicate to each other across the world in seconds. We may well find we have exactly what we need right in front of us, because it is not really a technological problem we face. It's more how we view the world. There is an almost spiritual belief in growth. Politicians speak so matter-of-factly about the need to continually grow the economy. And the faster, the better. The truth is the exact opposite. The planet is finite. It has finite resources and finite ability to cope with pollution. The Earth cannot cope with the pollution our industrial countries produce, yet alone the developing nations like China, India and Brazil. Many scientists are saying we are breaking the law of extinction and that we have passed the point of no return. We are not immune to these laws of nature because of our use of oil. We spend 10 calories of energy for a gain of only 1. We need to change the dream of growth to zero growth.
Now the idea of growth, the religion of growth, and their prophets will tell you that we need growth for prosperity. But really, the religion of growth, and we call it a religion because of its fundamentalism, is really a cult of death. What are shopping malls but modern-day temples? Growth threatens long-term prosperity and ignores the fact that the Earth is finite in resources and finite in its ability to absorb pollution. Unfortunately, the disciples of the growth do not realise it is a death cult. Under the law of nature, prosperity is linked to sustainability. Without a healthy ecosystem, there is no prosperity. Just like without personal well-being, there is no enjoyment of life.
National Council ministers and corporations tell us that without growth, we are in deep trouble. You can have continual fiscal growth, but this is a large mirage based on futures, markets and interest rates, not real tangible goods. Because in the real world, continual growth is not possible, as resources are finite, and the ability of the ecosystem to process pollution limited.
We need steady-state economies which use renewable energy, practice recycling and have a high degree of local self-sufficiency. We will use less and have more free time, work less, consume less, and our real standard of living would increase. We will be happier and more connected to our communities and nature. What we build would last and be recycled when upgraded. The practices of inbuilt obsolescence, i.e., building things so they break, will be replaced with truly intelligent engineering. If everyone did a 20-hour week, we would meet all our requirements related to food, medicines, and recreational hardware.
But what is being suggested here is considered counter to the interests of the richest people on earth. The richest 500 own more than half the world. The 3 richest own more than the combined GDP of the poorest 48 countries. They do not care if the world economy collapses or not, because they can just withdraw money from their Swiss bank accounts and buy everything back at bargain prices and quadruple their profits. Over 1/6 of the world's money is held in tax-free havens. But ecosystems collapse is a different beast to economic collapse. You can't rebuild an environment with money. Most money is a binary digit in a computer. Only 10% of money is cash. You cannot even use it for compost. When people stop believing, it's actually worth something. This does happen to currencies from time to time. It happened to the Mexican peso in 1994, the Thailand baht in 1997, and the Russian ruble in 1998. Europe and the USA are so deeply in debt that the possibility of default is a real danger to global financial stability. However, all this talk of money is hiding the collapse of ecosystems around the earth. By focusing so heavily on the global financial system, we have lost sight of what is really happening. We live in a time where ecosystem collapse is a reality and economic failure certain, unless we put into action a well thought out plan for peace. Peace between people and between people and the other life forms whom we share this beautiful blue orb.
There's nothing wrong with the capitalist tenet that those that work harder than others get more as a reward, but there should be some limit on personal wealth. There is no reasonable justification for accumulating more than 1 billion in personal wealth, while 1 in 6 people cannot access clean water or eat every day.
The USA is considered a superpower. She lives in a state where she can wage 2 major wars at the same time, and at a moment's notice anywhere on the planet. But she cannot afford this. Literally, the USA is bleeding itself to death from maintaining such a drastic war footing. She spends $662 billion per year on so-called defence. China spends $119 billion. The USA maintains 8,500 nuclear warheads, and China holds 240 nuclear warheads. It is in everyone's interest, including the USA, for a global body to be created, or for the UN to be evolved into an equitable Earth Council. It should be the rule of law which governs, not the rule of might.
At least, most of us do acknowledge we have a serious problem, yet we have only the United Nations to look to. And this institution is grossly inadequate to meet the issues that we face. The vast majority of us have little or no faith in it. It is an inequitable and undemocratic body which favours 5 countries. How can humanity program our corporations with such a flawed and toothless global body? These 5 veto powers sell weapons of destruction as good economic policy. They are compromised by dependence on the export of these weapons.
We need a fair and representational Earth Council so we can negotiate a way to a planet-wide ceasefire and then the demilitarisation of the Earth. We need the establishment of a weapons inspection team from all nations to inspect all nations. But this Earth Council must base its power with the people and their communities. Refer Earth Council triangle following. We need a local and global voting system. We could establish a global voting system, one that is transparent and monitored by 2 independent bodies at a fraction of 1% of the current military budget of the USA. Direct democracy is clearly the way forward. We will continue to ally ourselves with genuine democracy movements like the Arab Spring and Occupy movement. Both movements face tyrants, for corporations in their current format are no less tyrannical than any African dictator.
Some observers have noted our problems lie in the way that we view the world. Scientists are only now recognising that coevolution or cooperation between species plays a greater role than competition. We have many organisms living inside ourselves that help us live. Indeed, without them, we would die. We are beginning to shift our thinking away from an empty universe to one full of life. For what is the life of a star but life? The universe is full of dark matter and dark energy, and the centre of our galaxy is a black hole. The broader scientific community are only now realising there are complex relationships between the different constituents of what makes up our land and seas. Scientists are only now being brought to the realisation that the universe is one interconnected, interdependent world.
That is why we have chosen the flower of life to be the symbol of this new consciousness. Strictly speaking, this new consciousness is actually ancient, just like the symbol which appears in over 13 different countries as a part of ancient cultures. The flower of life is a gift from many ancient cultures to this culture of the now. It represents the unity of all life and is for every human being, no matter what country. It unites us all, which is important, as we are one human family with one common destiny. It now also reminds us of our current transformation from destructive national consciousness to a cooperative global consciousness. We will all become global citizens who respect the sovereignty of all human beings. So, as the solstice sun crosses the galactic equator and moves into a new hemisphere, we may well witness the falling away of the old structures and the birthing of the new. For those with the eyes to see, we are actually witnessing the birth of a planetary civilization, and the logistics involved in this process will determine that the old values of the nation states, which was based on competition and exploitation, will have to eventually give way to a collaborative effort, where cooperation and respect will be the dominant social values. It is the First Nations people, the Indigenous people, who hold fundamental knowledge and wisdom, which other people need for our collective survival and prosperity on this beautiful blue world. Yet everyone needs to be open and humble enough to actually listen. We constantly get asked to educate ourselves to your world, and some of you have thought us unintelligent. The truth is, we want nothing to do with activities that destroy the Mother Earth. For us, there is no greater abomination than to deliberately make foul the soul of our shared world. In your arrogance, you have missed important lessons that you now need for our collective survival. Already, some of you are allies of the Pachamama Alliance and allies of life. We are the Earth Keepers. We are inviting you with no blame or anger to reconsider your view of this world. The Elders believe it is important to the long-term prosperity of the peoples of Earth that you join us and become Earth Keepers too. The ethos of Earth Council is based on an interpretation of the Australian Aboriginal ethos regarding the proper relationship between human and other life forms. The ancient and modern day Mayans talk about the end of the old and the beginning of the new, based on the now scientifically documented realization of the unity of all life. This is a big turning that we are beginning to make. We need to build a vehicle to make this great turn. We need Earth Council so we can negotiate a way to peace and to protect the Earth from unsustainable activity. In short, we need this council to save the world. Our world, the Earth, whom we share with many other life forms. Those of us around the world who are alarmed, the probable number being in the millions, if not billions, can link together on December 21st this year, 2012, and simultaneously unite our voices and call for the first world vote. Change the United Nations to Earth Council. Yes or no?
The system of governance we humans have inherited is one of dominance. The dominance of a few over the many, the dominance of the human species over other life forms, and the attempted dominance by the human species over the entire Earth. This system of dominance is evident in the ecosystem collapse now occurring on every continent. Well, imagine that the answer to our collective problem is as simple as turning this power structure upside down. Now the bottom is the top, and at the top is everyone, the people. The three main freedoms associated with this level are access to land, water and seed. And the other main freedom associated is the right to govern ourselves intelligently through our own community council or local government. This allows for diversity of culture. The third tier is a bioregional council. This is where community councils or local governments of an area meet to negotiate issues related to their interactions. The fourth tier or level is a national council or national government. Most people are familiar with this level. The fifth level is the regional council. These are nations of an area. There are 12 regional councils of the Earth, and they each send 2 delegates, a man and a woman, to Earth Council, a 24-seat council. Bioregion 8 is 3 seats, and Bioregion 6 is 1. All the rest are 2. Earth Council represents an evolution of the United Nations so that all countries get representation, and at the same time power is kept with the people and their communities. In this system, everyone gets the opportunity to vote on every issue, and therefore council members are delegated to administer the will of the people, as reflected in this voting process. Council members are not representatives, but delegates. Now we have the technology to make this voting system, and at a fraction of the cost of destroying this planet.
Karo